ladies. It's Lori from Lori's Little Bit of Crafting, coming to you on Thursday, June 12th at 11:18 p.m. here in Wisconsin. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in the United States. I guess it's been a longer day than I expected. So, I don't know if you took a look at the little thumbnail that I added here, but it was of this card. Now, I'm not anxious for winter, don't get me wrong, but I received this card from a friend some time ago. I don't even remember how many years ago. And I hung on to it, not only because handmade cards are special, but because I loved the fold. All right, so this is just going to be a pretty fun fold. And I thought what we would do is try to make a scene using this beautiful Gallery 6x6 Designer Series paper that I've been using for the last couple of nights, I guess. So last night I made these couple of cards by adding color onto the Designer Series paper. Tonight, I thought what I would try to do is use a sheet of the 6x6 paper to see if I could make a sailboat scene. Now, I know in the United States, Father's Day is coming. I've already made some Father's Day cards, if you remember the ones where I did the little fun fold that made like a Hawaiian shirt or a plaid shirt. I don't really need any more Father's Day cards because who has that many fathers, right? So this could be just a masculine thinking of you card. It could be a masculine anniversary card for somebody, masculine birthday card. I've pulled out this sentiment that says to a wonderful man. So we'll see how this all turns out. Okay. So I did some time ago when I got this card, I wrote down some of the measurements. Okay. So what we do is we take a piece of cardstock that's 5.5 by 11, and I'm going to use Misty Moonlight. So hopefully this isn't going to take us forever. And I'll do the best I can to go relatively quickly. All right, so there's my 5.5 by 11. I am also going to cut another piece 1.5 inches wide for that belly band. So I'm just going to be left with this small piece of cardstock there. And then I have a note to score this at 2.25. Well, let's not cut it. And I'm going to flip it around. And I have another note to take off 1 3/8 inches. So we've got the 1, 2, and 3/8. So I'm going to count. I'm going to trust that my measurements and notes are correct from whenever I did this. All right, so we've got this. And then what I do typically is I wrap it around my card and then I finger crease it here. So I start out with a nice crease, and that helps me get it straight when I'm wrapping it around my card. All right, so I'm going to set that aside for right now. And then I'm going to look at my little template again. And I'm going to see that this first score is at 1 3/4. And then we have another score, so that's going to go this way. I'm going to flip this over, and I'm going to score it at 5.5, because half of 11 is 5.5. And then that one's going to go this way because we're looking like this right now. And then we're going to score at 9 3/4. So I'm going to pull out this little side arm. Whoop. And 9 3/4. All right, so let's flip this back over. This is going to fold in this way. This folds in here, and this folds that way. Look at how easy that was. All right, so 5.5 here by 11. Part of my leftover, I cut 1.5 inches to make my belly band. We might cut this down later, who knows? I haven't made a sample card, so we're doing this blind together. All right, then we score here at 1 3/4. We score at 5.5. We score at 9 3/4. All right. I am going to go ahead and burnish these quick. And I don't even know, other than my little template that I made when I got that card, I don't think I've made this. All right. So then let's set that out of the way. I have notes on here on cutting my DSP. So we are going to cut 5 1/4. I guess I need my cutting blade. So I'm going to just take off this top piece. I don't think I need it. And then my notes say 3.5. So we're going to cut a piece at 3.5. And that's going to come here. Okay. And then we're going to cut a piece at 1.5. If I can get that straight. And that's going to go here. And then this piece is going to be 1. And that's what we have left over. Okay. So there's our 6 by 6 piece of designer series paper. All right. So we cut off, let's see, 5 1/4. So we cut off 3/4 of an inch. Boy, can't do the math today. 3.5 wide, 1.5 wide, and 1 inch. Now what I thought I might want to do is some layers behind here to kind of make this stand out a little bit. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to keep these all together right now. I'm not going to glue them together just yet. And I'm going to go 5 1/4, 5 1/4, and then I'm going to add just a 1/16. So I'm not quite at the 5.5. And then my next piece was 3.5, and I'm just going to add 1/8. And let's see how that looks. My edge got a little rough here. I wonder if I need to turn my blade around. So that's going to look pretty nice, I think. And then against the misty moonlight, I think that's good. So then my next piece was 1.5, and I'll just go up 1/8 from there. And that will be for this piece. That should look pretty good. And then we were at 1 inch, so I'm just going to go up 1/8 from there. There we go. All right, so let's get the trimmer out of our wafer right now. That's going to go here. So we can start gluing some of these things together and get them out of the way. We'll just see how this looks. So if that's going to go there, this is going to go here, and this is going to go here. And I suppose it doesn't really look like a whole lot from there, but we're going to put the belly band on as well. And when it kind of opens, maybe I don't want to do it that way. Maybe before I glue anything down, maybe I should have cut this different, because we could have put this here and that could have gone here. I probably should have cut this a little bit different for this side so that when it's open, it looks more like a scene. And then I could have just done the back sides maybe on here. Well, I wasn't really thinking ahead to how this was going to look. So let's figure this out. This might be just fine like this. I don't know. Or what if we went like this? We could put this piece here and do kind of a reverse scene. Who would know, right? And then this one can go here. I think we're going to do that because that kind of looks better to me. So we're going to do that. We're going to flip our card over and we can just open it like this instead. It was designed to go this way, but who's going to know, right? Just us. So let's go ahead and glue these little things together. See, sometimes you just have to kind of roll with it and let it do what it's going to do, right? Kind of like my hair in the morning. I have very thin, fine hair, and try as I might to make it look full and wavy. The minute I step outside into any humidity, it's straight as can be. So I just kind of go with it now and let it just be straight. So this piece is going to be here. And I like the early espresso with the misty moonlight. And these are all colors that are in the designer series pack, but also if we look at the color coaches for early espresso, misty moonlight is on here, and I've got basic beige. So we've got the misty moonlight, the early espresso, and there's basic beige in here too. So that's the color palette of the paper. That just worked out really well with my inks as well. So let's go ahead and put this piece on. And I like the liquid glue just because it gives me wiggle room if I don't get my pieces down quite right. And hopefully you can see what I'm working on here. Because if I don't press it down real hard, I can still shift it until I'm happy with where it is. There we go. Just like that. And then I can press it down and make sure that it's set. And my problem with using like the Stamp and Seal, when I set it down, even though I don't set it down hard, it's set. And for me, there's like no going back. Now I'm going to shift this down just a little bit to match this first layer. And we'll be good to go there. I tell you, I've been thinking this bottle of glue's been empty for like 5 days and I keep getting more glue out of it. I just keep tapping it down on my table, making sure every last smidge of glue is out of that bottle. All right. A couple little frayed edges on here. We'll just kind of tuck those under. And I don't need a lot of glue. I did a class today and one of the women is just really heavy-handed with the glue. Like a little glue goes a long way. Dot, 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 not a lot, as my granddaughter says. And I shifted her to tear and tape because her paper was getting very puckered, basically, ripply. All right, so there's that. That looks kind of cool. All right, so even though the scene's not going to be there here, what I'll do then is I'll make it be there. So I'm going to cut it in reverse, and I'm going to put this piece here as well. So let's get that trimmer back out. And we're going to cut this to 5 1/4, taking off the top again of my second sheet. And that's a scrap I'm probably not going to need. And then this piece, we did the 3 1/2, and then we cut our other 2 pieces there. So I'm going to do 3 1/2 there, and we're going to put this here. I probably could have made that much longer, huh? We'll center it. I should have thought maybe I'm just gonna, let's pretend I didn't do that one. We'll pretend. I can use that for another card, right? And we will find, I think I have one more sheet of this design. So let's just do a little quick measurement here. And I need this to be 4 inches across. So we're gonna make this our 5 1/4. Like I said, we're pretending I didn't do that last one. And we're gonna go 4. I think that's what I said. Now I just lost my ruler. There it is. Yep, we're gonna go 4. It seems wider than that. So then we're gonna take some more early espresso. And I'm gonna go 5 1/4, and I'm gonna add 1/8, just like I did on the other ones. And then I'm gonna go to my 4 inches and just scoot it over another 1/8. All right, so this should be nicely framed, and that's gonna go in there. Nice. I may have to go get another bottle of glue. We'll see. So basically you'll need a sheet of your cardstock because we needed the whole 11 inches. And then probably like a whole sheet probably of the early espresso. I pulled in a full sheet and I pulled in a scrap, so I don't even remember really how much I used. This can go here. And then let's shimmy that up a little bit. You probably can't see it moving, but I can see it moving just a little bit. I'm going to cut another early espresso base for here. So let's see how wide this little piece is. So let's go 3, looks like 3 3/8. All right. 3 and then 1 2 3/8. Oh, that's not how I wanted to do it. I needed it this way, didn't I? Okay. We'll pretend I didn't do that one either. It happens, right? All right, so we're gonna go, let's do our 3 3/8 here while I'm thinking portrait. And then we're gonna go like this and do our 5 1/4 and add 1/8. So basically 5 3/8. And we'll just cut that little smidge off there. And that's too narrow. What did I do wrong? Oh, because this was my layer. So I need, boy, let me find my basic beige. We'll pretend I didn't do that too. You know, sometimes it happens. So this piece, I need to be, we'll get this sooner or later. So this is going to be 3 3/8 by 5 1/4. So 3 3/8 by 5 1/4. And then this piece, we're going to go to 3, and if it's 3/8, that would be 4/8, which makes it a half. And then we're going to go 5 1/4 and add an 1/8, so 5 3/8. Oh boy. There we go. Hopefully it's going to be the right size for my card base now. Oh, voila. What do you know? Oh. All right. So then what we should probably do is put a piece here. And I don't know if I like that piece. That piece would probably work. I don't really like just the back side. So let's do this strip here. So that one is 1 inch by 5 1/4. So we'll do 1 inch by 5 1/4. So that's already sized for that. And then this is already my 5 3/8, and I need 1 inch and an 1/8. So that should work there now. All right, so let's glue those together, because the less loose pieces I have, the better I do, because the several cuts that I've made that have been wrong now, I don't want them to confuse me any further. It's just being one of those nights. Usually I don't struggle quite that much with math, but I don't know what the deal is. Okay. I really like these colors together too with this designer series paper. All right. So this is definitely more layers than what I normally have on a card, but I really like it. And then this, I want to stamp before I glue it down, because with the struggles I'm doing with math, who knows if I'm going to have struggles with stamping. All right. So with this, and then I've got my belly band. Remember, we've got our 1.5 inches. I scored this at 2 1/4 inches here, and then I'm just going to finger wrap it here, because I cut off 1 3/8 inch, I think. Yep, 1 3/8 inch. So what happens then is that puts it like right in the middle. All right. What I thought I would do is add a sailboat, and I think I might like this grayish one a little bit better, from the Sunrise Sailing. So I had already embossed this for another card, so we're gonna trim this out and just see how it looks. We might like it, we might not. All right. So I could have cut this right with my embossing folder when I embossed it, but since I didn't, we're just gonna do it here. And I think my washi tape is running out of stickum there. All right, let's get rid of some of my debris. And let's pull out my Bossy Bessie. And we'll get a few plates here. So I need the base plate. I need my shim. I need a 3 cutting plate. We'll use the cut one. And then I need a 3 top plate. And we'll just run this through. Now when I put my plates through, I don't know if you've watched me before, but I stagger my plates. So usually I'll put the bottom cutting plate in and then the top cutting plate up a little bit so that there's not as much bulk when the machine grabs it. Or you can stagger them like this because they're beveled. So either way works. You just have to figure out which way works best for you. And I don't always do mine exactly the same. But see how easy that runs through when you don't have all that hard bulk at once. So let's get these out of the way. That's the only thing I'm going to cut. And luckily I have a nice steady table, so when I use my embossing machine, it doesn't jiggle my camera around. So this I think I'll keep because I might do something with that for another card. And then, oh, I should have left that out because I want to cut another piece to glue this to so that it's a little more sturdy. And we'll just do it out of this one because I messed up my cut here anyway. All right, so let's pull out the machine one more time. Sorry about that. Base plate, the shim, my cardstock, my item, and let's run it through. And I suppose I could have tried to run it through you so you could see how difficult it is to put them through if I've got all my plates lined up together. Even that was pretty easy, so that's not a good... Our machine is really nice. So either way, it'll work. All right. So let's go ahead and now I think I can put this away. And I have a little magnet here so I don't lose my die. And then let's go ahead and glue these together. Oops. And I'm trying to hurry because I know people have things to do. And I appreciate you stopping by and crafting with me. Maybe you're trying to craft along. You can always watch the replay and pause and back up or fast forward places that you don't want to see me cutting things wrong. It happens. All right, so there we go. That should work pretty good. And then what we'll do then is put this on here to kind of cover up our seam. Maybe we'll go down like that. Or maybe we should put a circle behind this or something. I'm not going to quite finish that yet because I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to want to do, but we will need a sentiment on the front for sure. I've got To a Wonderful Man here, but I thought that might go on the inside because this is going to be here. I can always glue this piece in and get rid of that one. Let me look at the stamp set because there might be another sentiment that strikes my fancy. It seems there was. And the sentiment that I'm using is from the May Paper Pumpkin Kit. If you don't subscribe, you should probably think about subscribing because some of those sentiments are really cool. So I had one of them out. Let's see. You mean the world to me. All right. So we're going to go ahead and use Early Espresso. And I usually tap my ink onto my stamp rather than squishing my stamp into the ink because it's safer. Let's go like this so we can kind of use our lines to try to get straight here. And I'm just going to eyeball a line across there. Hopefully I'll be close. It's sometimes challenging when you can't look directly over at the stamp. And I usually just hold the stamp down for a few seconds to let the ink sink in. And I don't wiggle it on purpose, at least. And then the other thing we're going to do is we're going to put some seagulls on here. I wonder if the seagulls, let's play with this. If I did the seagulls tone on tone on the beige, oh, that looks pretty good. Or I could do Misty Moonlight. Let's just wipe this off here. And I don't have my chamois handy because I did my class. I think I'm going to do the basic beige. Let me rinse this off. We'll get that Misty Moonlight off there and we'll just do tone on tone with some seagulls on here. And then we can actually just kind of make those go all the way through. And let's do a few more over here. There. That'll work. All right. Close these because if I don't, I'm going to get myself inky. I just know it. All right, so let's glue this in. All right, we're getting close to this bottle being empty, I swear. Line that up. And I usually put it like on the upper edge or in a corner and then just glide my fingers down to steer it so that it's lined up, if that makes sense. Look at those colors together. Isn't that cool? And then this is going to go here. This will go here like that. So let's go ahead and I'm going to use glue here. And we're going to go just like this. I don't want it to go past this line because that's where I know that this other side is coming through. And I want the longer piece on the bottom because when I put this one on the top, it's in the center and it'll be concealed by our double layer sailboat. All right, so then let's, I'm not sure if that's holding as tight as I want it to. I think I need a little bit more of the glue under here, right on the edge. There we go. And I think what we might need to do is dress this up with a design from these Nested Essentials dies. Because if we did, we could just stamp that right on here. Let's try it. And if we don't like it, I can always make a new belly band, right? We'll just put this over on the side. And again, I'm just holding steady pressure so that ink can soak in. I like it. And then I don't have to worry about a separate piece for that sentiment, but this is going to go on here. So let's do one of these. because that'll conceal this, and then we can have the sailboat off to the side even. We could have this line up with this seam. Let's see if this will work. All right, let's bring out the little one, because this is pretty narrow. And for this one, I just need the base plate and a cutting plate. And then anytime you have a die that's got a straight edge at like the top, I always feed it in at an angle so that a corner is leading the way into the machine rather than the straight edge, if that makes sense. So instead of the straight edge, because there's going to be more of a ridge that the machine has to try to get over, I turn it. All right. And I don't think I have these beveled enough here. There we go. I'll put that right here. All right. Let's put this up on dimensional. Since we've got a thick card, let's make it just a little thicker. I'm going to hand deliver this to the person anyway, so, oops. I guess I should probably worry more about putting these where it's going to hold on to that backing piece, huh? And I'm going to get a mini dimensional for the center down here. There we go. All right. So let me know what you think. And we're going to go like this. And we're going to glue this because I want this line to match up here, that angle of the die cut, to match up with this seam, brown to brown. So I'm going to do the glue right across where my fingers are here. All right, so we're gonna, I'm using my grid paper here. And that's going right on the belly band. So let's slide this off. Oh, I guess that won't work because then I won't be able to line it up where I want it to be. This is definitely a thicker card than what I usually do. But if we want this to line up right, then I guess I have to put it back here. All right, so now we can slide this off. I'll scooch it up just a little bit. Had a little overflow of my liquid glue. As long as it's not tacky at all, it'll be fine. All right. So here's our card. So this was 5.5 by 11. We scored it in a couple of places. Added a bunch of DSP. And did our belly band. Now the nice thing about this fun fold is that when you squeeze it together, you can actually make it a little more narrow to go in that belly band easier. What do you think of that? And then let's find, I think these neutral matte dots are still available. I didn't look them up. I'm trying to find my take your pick tool. But we can do, oh, we probably could have done seagulls on here too, but we're not. We don't want it to look too hokey, right? But we're going to add maybe turn sideways onto my putty here. I don't think I really want that there. We'll maybe do there and here. I don't know, I might move those. We'll see. But that's what we're going with for right now. So here's what I started with. Let me put this back together. Okay, it was like this. This was the card I received from my friend. And here's what I made with it. So I think I need to maybe try to highlight some of the embossing on there, or maybe I'm just overthinking it. So anyway, so when this belly band came off, we had this, okay? When this belly band comes off, and I think what I'm gonna have to do is move this, because if it's a guy, he's not gonna be paying attention. And I think we're just gonna move these all to the belly band, because I think that'll be better. So this will come off, and this one opens this way. So we did it backwards because I couldn't get the designer series paper to line up how I wanted it. So there we go. Well, there we go. All right. I will post pictures of this card on my Facebook page, which is Lori's Little Bit of Crafting. And maybe I'll try to get some of these directions down, or you can just take a screenshot here of these sizes if you're interested through the maybe the replay if you go back. But we had 5.5 by 11, scored it 1 3/4. I then flipped it, depending on if you worry about your mountain or your valley, 5.5 and 9 3/4. And then I've got some of the measurements for cutting the layers and the DSP. So, and then the belly band, I took a strip off of that scrap from the 8.5 by 11. And I did this at 1.5 inches, scored it at 2 1/4, so that I have my first fold here. Then I finger scored it here, cut off 1 3/8, and then I had my belly band. All right. So, thanks for popping in. Hope you enjoyed this card. Sorry it's a little bit longer than what I normally go. There were a lot of layers, and since I didn't prep it ahead of time, there were a couple little oopses too. But it happens, and I can use those on another card. So, until next time, happy crafting.